another notice pertaining to some moving forward activities. September 6, 2017 will forever be a date embedded in our minds, just as September 5th was 22 years ago. However, in every bad situation, good always emerges, and the Hurricane Irma will provide new opportunities for St. Martin, especially for the children of St. Martin. The iStep group would like to stimulate the children of St. Martin to not only reflect on the experience of the hurricane that passed, but to look towards the future. So in its being an ICT project, we would like to involve students in a digital storytelling showcase or exercise. So we're inviting all schools to participate in the digital storytelling activity called I-Stepping 'Cause St. Martin Strong. You're asked to write a script, and the team will be coming by once the school has submitted the top 3 submissions to be able to digitally record this, and all the submissions should be in by November 1st. More information, of course, will be disseminated in writing on this to the press so that you can get all the details out, and of course, the schools will receive this information directly. We believe that it's an opportunity for growth for the country, and the vision of our youth in how this country should look will serve as an encouragement not only for them, but also for us as the general public of St. Martin. So I encourage the youth to use this opportunity to present your view of what St. Martin should look like in the future. On the subject of the University of St. Martin, I issued a press release as regards to that already, but yesterday in the Council of Ministers meeting, we were able to approve for the 10% subsidy, balance of the 10% subsidy for the years 2013, 2014. Despite a very hectic agenda, I must thank the Council of Ministers for fast-tracking that advice. And of course, there will be some amendments to the decree whereby we have deviated from the need for the university to submit audited reports. However, it will not be that those reports are not going to be expected at some time in the near future still. In the meantime, we had requested and have received a business plan as well as a presentation which was made in August prior to Hurricane Irma in terms of the vision of the university moving forward, and as well as some other documents which I won't go into detail here. Some more information will be needed so that we as ministry can properly evaluate the way moving forward in being able to salvage, save the university. We do realize the strong influence it has on our community. It is not being ignored, if anyone would think that. But in order for the Council of Ministers to take a decision to allocate any new funds which were not budgeted for, we would have to have a proper advice moving forward, looking at all possibilities. So the department and the stakeholders within are working diligently to be able to come up with that, and so we ask some patience in that regard as we move forward. From the Culture Department, the Ministry of ECYS, together with the Monument Council, would hereby like to remind owners of designated monuments that monument permits are required with or without a building permit in order to conduct any restoration or repair works to your monument. This is a reminder because most monument owners know this. Several new sites have actually been uncovered during Irma, as a lot of the brush was blown away, and so those have to be registered as well. But any applications that are needed, monument form permit applications, can be picked up right here at the Government Administration Building between 8 to 12 and 1:30 to 5 at the Culture Department. The number to contact is 520-5340. Also, as a ministry charged with culture, we had been, prior to Irma, planning an extensive St. Martin Day month of celebrations, actually. What I can say is that the St. Martin Strong campaign, which is more a government-wide and private organization pushing the building back of St. Martin, pushing that we are getting ready to move forward and welcoming visitors, is collaborating together with the Culture Department as well as this ministry. And we have a very extensive press conference which will happen after this press briefing because the information would be way too much for us to go into at this point. But we will be sharing in a press conference the information of the St. Martin Strong campaign, which includes the St. Martin Day activity.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more, however you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right, get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah, right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
You know, we have reached to a stage, yes, where we had to open a second dump site because I made it clear that on the present landfill, no post-hurricane debris or garbage should be put there. I don't recall or remember the company that you mentioned. I don't know if you mean the EnviroGreen, the waste to energy. I don't know which one there is. But like I mentioned earlier, there is a badge that is coming in. We already had one that left, and they are coming back to remove most of the aluminum, zinc, and crushed material. We have the crusher that is there right now working 24 hours. That is crushing. We are waiting on some balers because, again, we don't want to lose all the garbage. And let me explain why. It adds to the caloric value that will be needed for whichever waste and for the waste to energy. What we need now at the present moment is the balers that's going to take this garbage and bale it and store it. I don't know if you understand the process, which means it will make good burning value for the waste to energy that can produce energy. But yes, we will be moving out majority of the debris that is there right now because we simply have nowhere else to put it. We did create the second site, but that's a site, I believe, that was given to the Soccer Association and others. You know, it's just like when we were using the land, the parking lot in Simpson Bay, that was temporary. We was also using across from the movies, that was temporary. Was using Jose Lake parking lot, the ball field, that was temporary. So they all had to be removed, sanitized, cleaned up, and that is the location where we are at right now, yes.
The plans for the new hospital have to be adjusted, and that is now not going to cost 75 but $100 million. Does it have any consequences for the local finances of that project, like SZV? Will they still be able to stay on board with those numbers?
Sure, that's a good question. As you know, we were originally speaking with two possible local financiers, SZV and APS. SZV has obviously been hit hard by Irma as well. The number of business closures and the payouts that they need to allocate resources to is obviously going to impact their financials. We have revised our request to the Netherlands, and that request has already been forwarded. And the idea is that the hospital, don't quote me on the number, but I think it was about rated to 160, around there in terms of miles per hour. That was the original design criteria for the hospital. Obviously, Hurricane Irma has redefined those criteria points. And so now we're looking and saying, you know, look, originally I think it was going to be some sort of a wall paneling system. And so we are looking at changing it to a concrete structure, which means the construction time is longer, which means that the costs would be higher. We've given the Netherlands a number of different possible solutions. Our request, that I believe is the most reasonable, is to continue with the request for the soft loan for the original $75 million and ask them for a grant for the difference, which we anticipated is between $20 to $25 million, to upgrade the structure to a Cat 5 plus structure, right? A hospital is, I think, out of one of the critical infrastructure buildings, one that you want to be sure is there after a storm like this. And obviously, the stronger the storm, the more you need the hospital. So that's the proposal that we've submitted to Holland. And internally, we are looking at, you know, how can we, in the event Holland does not support, how would we adjust the project? And one possibility that we're in discussions is perhaps, you know, it was going to be the sort of a rectangular structure where the empty space is, demolish the old building, and then build sort of a wing to add to the structures. Though ultimately, the structure was going to be sort of an L-shaped. So what we're considering is it possible to eliminate the wing and take the savings from that and upgrade the structure so the hospital would then become a little bit smaller, but upgraded to Cat 5 plus standards. And you know, it's a slightly different subject, but since it just reminds me, you know, just a message to the community to be careful. Actually, I don't have numbers, just anecdotal stories, Andrew, sorry. But we've certainly seen a lot of people coming in with injuries after the hurricane, right? So in other words, the actual injuries during the hurricane is one thing. But what we're seeing is a lot of people getting up and trying to fix their houses, understandably, but they're going on roofs that aren't secure. I'm hearing stories of people falling off, you know, 2-story, 3-story buildings because they're not using proper safety equipment. This is something that we've spoken about with the ministry because it falls under the inspectorate, the occupational safety. But, you know, remember there's glass and nails on the beach, so careful walking barefoot, but especially people that are, you know, understandably trying to improve the situation around their house. Just be careful. We're getting actually more, in my opinion, anecdotally, more complaints about people injuring themselves after the hurricane and trying to repair their homes.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 fun mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles, from within your reach.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more, however you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
Martin always has the opportunity, and not opportunity, but the capacity, the right to borrow based on the CFT laws as long as its budget was in balance. And we have borrowed. In August, we borrowed some 21 million guilders, which is in the bank, based on the fact that the budget was balanced, and it was announced also when the budget was passed by Parliament. So our capacity to borrow has always been there and still is there. We can borrow, just as you probably know Aruba did, on the open market, but we have an arrangement with the Netherlands that we can borrow at very attractive rates from the Netherlands if the Netherlands write in to the bonds that we're seeking to generate for borrowings. So if the question is, do we have the ability to borrow? The answer to the question is yes, we do. But borrowing has a limit, has a ceiling. You cannot borrow unlimited amount of money. Same way when you go to a bank, the bank would question you, well, do you have assets? How are you going to repay? How long are you going to take to repay? And based on that information, the bank will make and weigh whether or not you can borrow or you are qualified to borrow the amount that you want. Given the enormous amount of losses we're going to suffer with an economy that has actually shrunk and which will take a couple of years to rebuild. And it's questionable if all of the money that we need, given the situation as it is and the expenses which we have, we can qualify to borrow all that money. And the answer to that is no. No country, when it's struck by a hurricane, as devastating as Irma it was, have economies, not in the Caribbean, that can borrow 100% of the money that it needs. Normally, it borrows up to its capacity, the ceiling that it has, and it qualifies, on recommendation of everybody, for grants. So between the borrowing and the grants, you will cover your expenditures. But of course, you have to go through the entire process of trying to limit your expenses as much as possible and trying to increase your income as much as possible, besides just simply borrowing and continuing to spend the same way you used to spend before. So there's a lot of work has to be done to look and see what's the most efficient way to go about borrowing and managing our expenditures and qualifying from other countries, including the Netherlands, for loans and grants.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Constantio Guadalupe yesterday, and he gave us one of the reasons why he has submitted his resignation, the lack of a law on tertiary education. My question is that law a work in progress? Is it there at all?
I think I'd like to address the first part of your statement. For the general public, Mr. Guadalupe had a 3-year contract which would end in December. So that university is now at this stage. I believe their presentation, if my mind or memory serves me correctly, in August was heralding the achievement of the goal for which he was hired to receive accreditation for certain programs, which they claim they have, and which, as I said before in my statement, that we requested the actual documentation of such. So even though that presentation was made, the ministry had not officially received the documentation to substantiate those claims. So that, I believe, has been included in the package I received yesterday. I have not been able to go through that. It's quite a few documents. So to state that the reason for the resignation is due to the tertiary law not being ready, I believe if that is his reason, then that is his reason, and I cannot address that. When I entered into this seat, the tertiary law had been scrapped, that was being worked on. So there had been a draft which I believe the university was under the assumption would be finalized this year, and I guess they had not been informed that it had been completely scrapped, because in the meeting we held last October 11th, that was made clear to them that the law was, and I had made that statement before, I believe in June, when we projected our trajectory for pending legislation that was on our priority list, and we'd also sent it on to Parliament. That law was always on there, and I had updated, somebody had asked the question, where we were with that law at the time. So it is in the process, but it has been restarted completely because it had been rejected in the state that it was the last time. So if that is the reason that the Honorable Dr. Guadalupe is resigning from the university, then that is his prerogative, but do know that it is only shy of, 2 months that his contract would have ended. Of course, he had the prerogative to renew that, as did the university, but I've also heard claims that the university is closed. I've heard claims of all of that, but I have not received any of that in writing. So we are doing our utmost as government to make sure that, especially the students and staff, because this is another economic pillar as well, government not only provides subsidy to the university, but we also encourage and have put policies in place that students are mandated when receiving our financing to go there for 2-on-2 programs in collaboration with other universities. And so we feel very responsible for those students who we have practically, some of them, had to force them to go there. So it is not only from one perspective that this ministry has to look at this situation, this challenge, and we are looking at all our stakeholders internally, we are looking at external, but in some respects we must realize that this university is, besides meeting a social economic need for this country, an opportunity for our citizens to improve and grow, it is also a business. So we need to ascertain the real reasons why we are going through this process at this particular time, from a business perspective from the university. And so a lot of clarity is needed for the total picture to be understood, as this is literally one of the icebergs for which only the top is visible. And we are slowly discovering many of the underlying reasons for what may or may not be taking place right now.